Hi there, everybody. Chase Raz here from the Zilliqa Observer. There is a new tool in the Zilliqa ecosystem, and it is called ZilStream. You see it here on my screen. I want to give you a preview of what ZilStream is, who it was created by, why we would use it, and so on and so forth. And to start with that, let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the information. So ZilStream just popped up on Twitter the other day and basically came out and said, look, we're showing the exchange rates of ZRC2 tokens in Zilliqa. I'll talk about why that's important in just a moment. But to give you more context about where ZilStream is coming from, like I said, it just came right out of the blue. It was created by Melvin Beemer. Now, Melvin is originally from the Netherlands, but he's living in Thailand. I don't know him personally very well. I follow him on Twitter, as you can see here. Would love to have the opportunity to speak with him more about, his involvement in the Zilliqa ecosystem. But Melvin created this tool, according to his own tweets, to get some of the pricing information from ZWAP, gZIL, right? These types of tokens that are somewhat problematic for us to know what their price is at any given moment and know what the history of that price happens to be. I think that's pretty clear because when you look at the interface, gZIL, ZWAP, and XSGD are very prominent here on the dashboard, showing the past 24 hours, I believe this is. That's one of the points I'm going to call out here, that some of the information, this is a new service, some things are not 100% clear. I believe this is the past 24 hours, and why I'm saying that is if you look below, you see a wide variety of ZRC2 tokens that we can track. Shout out here to Port. I love Port. But, the charts line up. If we look at the top ZWAP chart and we look at this 24-hour one, it does say that we're looking at 24 hours here. So, 99.9% confidence here. It's just not labeled up above. I don't think you're going to have any issues with these. I will show you the interface for looking at any particular ZRC2 token. But this particular tool is Melvin, man, it's a heaven sent for most of us. And I want to talk about why. What are the use cases of something like this? Well, first of all, for reporting. When you're trying to capture a trade, let's say this is for accounting purposes or for taxation purposes, or right, both, they're interconnected. And you start thinking, I have no idea how much I just paid for that ZWAP or how much I sold it for. There was a DEX. It was the market rate. I really didn't look at it, more than is it within a tolerable area. And so when it comes to reporting it down to dollars and cents, whatever your local currency is, when it comes to reporting it, honestly, we've all had that feeling of, I have no idea what this transaction is worth. I know approximately within the Zilliqa ecosystem what it's worth, but for taxation purposes, who knows? And so we've all had that problem. And so here you're going to be able to see the prices in ZIL. And why that's nice is because we can then just cross-reference. Most of us are tracking what ZIL is worth in our local currency. So we can cross-reference at any point in time and say, here's the dollar amount of the transaction. Also very nice for calculating your fees. Hint, hint. Not financial advice. I'm not your accountant. I'm not an accountant. Don't trust me with accounting. I have an accountant. So, but right, remember, in some jurisdictions, your fees of converting a currency can be written off. Some cases that goes into crypto assets. In some cases, it doesn't. You've got to talk to your accountants about that. The second thing I think is really important about a tool like this is being able to time buys. And let me go into XSGD for a moment and show you what I mean. So when we're looking at XSGD, we're getting a multiple day history, which I'll give you a tour of the interface because it's a little Spartan at the moment. Melvin, you've done a great job. I don't want to be disparaging in any way, but it's a brand new tool. It's a little Spartan at the beginning once you deep dive into a particular currency. Look, that's okay. That's okay. If it never changes, that's beautiful. That's still fine. We just need to know how to use the tool. So when we deep dive into a stable coin like XSGD, which is of stable coins, it's fairly stable. I do see some price fluctuation. You're always going to see price fluctuation with stable coins, unless it's a direct one-for-one backing. And still, when you put it out on the market, right, you get where I'm going with that. So when you look at a stable coin and you can see, right, the ebb and the flow, the ups and the downs, the movements of the pricing, what you're really seeing is for the most part, variations in ZIL's pricing itself, that's ground level. Then you're seeing where that's altering because of the volatility in the liquidity pools that you're trading these assets back and forth in. Then it's starting to show you the manifestation of some of that volatility where the price may move up or down, and you may be able to have an arbitrage opportunity there, right? Like I think that's deeper than most of us go with this. But right, for a stable coin, because the price is in ZIL, you're seeing several factors compounded within the price of ZIL itself, arbitrage opportunities because of the constant product market maker on your DEX, ZilSwap, of course, in this case. And so those two things become really important. Reporting, this is a great tool for it, and timing your buys, because you can determine, like, let me go back for a moment and look at maybe another token. If we look at Port right now, which the price of Port is going up and up and up right now. Now, Port is supposed to be floating around $1. It was just 115 when I last checked. Somebody's buying some Port apparently over on ZilSwap because we're coming up to about that dollar. So on the main interface, it told me the dollar amount, the US dollar amount, but we're coming up to about this 9.26 ZIL. We want to use this to time buys, and I'll tell you, you have to factor in both ZIL price and your local currency price. So let me take a look at the interface here and show you what we're working with, and then that will bring up some of the limitations of what you need to be prepared for. And again, this is 2 thumbs up whether it changes or not. We can work with it no matter what. So I don't know the length of time that this chart is supposed to represent in the long run. Right now, this service is only a couple days old, and it's showing a couple days worth of information. I have no indicator to know whether this is always going to be a certain number of days or whether it's going to be a 7-day, a month. I have no indication of that right now. I don't know. However, take a look at the bottom here. You'll see some numbers. In fact, let me just zoom in a bit. It's not going to help you too much. I'm sorry. You can zoom in on the chart, and I'm trying to zoom in on the operating system. So you see these numbers down here. These are the days of the month. So March 5th here, March 7th. We're in March 8th now. So let me zoom out just a bit. Again, working with 2 different zooms is being a little bit problematic for me. Sorry about that. So we see the day, and then we can highlight over wherever we're looking. Now, when you're using a crosshair like this, when you're using a chart, you're probably used to seeing information somewhere else on the screen that tells you at that very moment, on that day and that time, right? Looking at the vertical line within the crosshair, you're used to seeing information somewhere aside that says, here was the price at this moment in time. We don't get that. You do actually have to use the crosshair to identify the moment in time. You kind of have to extrapolate as well what time of day you're in, because if we were to look at the 7th, right, we have the 7th begins here, and then we have what are, of course, obviously 6-hour increments, because we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 instances of the 7 being present. If you got 4 numbers for any particular date, you're looking at 6-hour blocks, right? There is some extrapolation you're still having to do, but it's going to be really, really good enough for most of our reporting, and it's going to be good enough for timing our buys. There are so many things I could say on a positive about this, however, as I do think the interface for the token specific view will evolve over time. Look at this, the contract address for the token. Just like, Melvin, seriously, thank you for that. And that alone, if nothing else, nice having this in one particular area. That is awesome. I'm going to go back yet again. I do like this main dashboard that we see the price in ZIL, we see the price in US dollars. Look, we could have a laundry list of things we want to see. I don't want to inundate Melvin with, here's that list. I'm sure he has it in his own head as well. Melvin, if you want, we'll create a list, we'll do polls, we'll get it out to the community, we'll get you the answer of what you want or what we want if you're looking for that. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to applaud the work you've put into the community. I want to say thank you so much for doing it. Everybody, go follow him. You already saw where he's at on Twitter, at Melvin Beemer. Make sure you're also following ZilStream itself at ZilStream. Beautiful name, by the way. Really cool logo, by the way. I love it. Really fits the community well. So look, ZilStream, I can't recommend it enough right now. Go out, try it, see how it works for you. Keep those two things in mind. Reporting and trading, and I think you're going to be happy. Take care, everybody.